Circling, and we're live.
Welcome. This is the first ever meeting of the Forever 44 Fedora Club.
Yes, it's happening.
We did it. Good night, everybody.
That's it.
We did it. Got everyone
Hey,
here.
I'm Frank. If you don't know me at all, I am the co-host of Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz alongside my sister, technically the moderator of the Forever 44 Fedora Club, but maybe heretofore we call her Judge Jen.
Oh, okay.
Jen, hello.
Hello. Welcome to the Forever 44 Fedora Club. I have to remember how to say that in order. Also, James is here of James and Casey, and I'm about to add another member to the stream. Boom! 3J.
Oh, 3J.
Nice.
Hello.
Welcome aboard.
Hello.
The meeting has just begun. We're doing the introductions. Judge Jen over in the corner, so I'll need to change her name in the upper left-hand corner.
Judge Jenny.
Yeah, exactly.
In my
3J,
box,
loving the
3J.
name.
3J
Yes.
is classic. It's great. It's my right, but maybe your left, or maybe it's up and down. Who knows? I don't know what these boxes look like in your world. We haven't determined if his position is the secretary or the treasurer of the Forever 44 Fedora Club. Well, maybe it's the vice president. I don't even know. We're going to have elections. It's going to be a whole thing. You know him on Twitter as @Nathaniel Hardy, but we call him Nate ever since December. Nate Hardy is here.
Right, because we're in now.
Nate.
Very happy to be here, and I'll take whatever position I get appointed from Frank and Landon. So.
3J. Skipper Bob we just met him 2 minutes ago for the first time in person. I love it, but he's joined us. Your podcast is called the Cretins Guild. Is that correct?
That's it. The Cretins Guild podcast.
The Cretins Guild podcast. We both were at the 1996 Bash at the Beach when Hulk Hogan turned his back on the world and joined the NWO in Daytona Beach. And that is our connection for life, by the way. Bob, thanks for joining us here today for a little meeting of the 44 Fedora Club, which I shorten it when I don't remember forever or don't want to stumble over my words.
That's smart, yeah.
And finally, lastly but not leastly, I thought he was drinking, and I was waiting for him to finish his drink, but he's got it
is he
up here.
Frozen?
Right. Oh, maybe he's frozen.
Oh, he's not. Okay, good.
Oh.
You looked frozen.
You know him, you love him from the Monday Morning Monorail podcast. You can't live without him. He's Justin Monorail, heretofore known as 3J.
Yes.
3J. Yes.
3J.
The alternate Forever 44 persona.
3J.
Excellent.
Boom.
Fantastic.
Happy to be here. Sorry I was late, but I had to make an entrance, of course.
No, it's fine. We like the fashionably late. Welcome. So we got Judge Jen and 3J and Skipper Bob and Nate. I just love that it would just be Nate.
Sure.
Nate. Nate.
I wasn't sure if I should be funny or silly, but
always go funny or silly, Nate.
well, the hat's silly enough. So
you're wearing the fedora of the Major League Baseball champions. Who knows for how many years this will go on for at this point?
Probably not many. Knowing DC has a terrible sports history, sir.
Well, I understand. I feel your pain. The 44 Fedora Club, Forever 44 Fedora Club, was established in December because Jen and I were just talking out loud, and suddenly there was a club. But
that's how these things
go. Yeah, exactly.
But we decided to expand upon it and make it grow and see if we turn it into a monthly thing here with the Double Down and the meeting and the whole thing. But we're going to be focusing once a month here on something Fedora related out there in the world, because the Fedora not only has a place in history, but for both men and women, and we'll explore that over time here. The first 3 meetings, which will be May, June, and July, are focusing on 3 movies all around the same time period. The first one we're talking about this evening, which in some ways, and maybe I'll get into it a little more, when it was released in the summer of 1988, I feel like set my course for the rest of my life. And sometimes I think that is attributed to Disney MGM Studios. But really, I think you can look at the inciting incident being the release of this movie, the one we're talking about here for the next hour, which is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And so I have this illustrious crew, those who are joining us in the live comments, welcome aboard. I'll just gonna open up the floor first to just, if you remember the first time you saw the movie or anything like that, we'll just pass the baton around. Skipper Bob, I'll start with you. Do you remember the first time that you saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
I remember I was old enough to have seen this in the theater, and just as young as I was, just watching this movie and the logistics behind it, I'm just thinking, how did you get Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse in the same movie? How did this happen? What acts of God and heaven and earth got moved to get these two massive studios with Steven Spielberg at the same time, just like all gelling it, and it worked, and it's amazing that how they pulled this off.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. And there's and just one of many iconic scenes that I really want to go through in a little bit. Nate, what about you? When was the first time? Do you remember the first time you saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Did we lose him?
Sorry. I had to mute the mic there for a second because of background noise. I saw it in the theater as well, and it was just a huge impact on my life and my family, actually. The movie is something that we watch all the time in my family, and it's a way to connect with my brother who is special needs, and there's one of the family right there. And he loves this movie. He recites the lines all the time, and we communicate by me and my brother Pat doing a call and response from a lot of the lines from the movie. And my whole family has done this with him, and it's great, and we do it with each other. We love it because of its greatness, and also the impact it's had on our family. Yeah. It's just a special movie for us. And luckily, my wife and son were very receptive to joining the Roger Rabbit fan club. They love the movie too. We watch it a lot. So it's awesome. It's almost like Star Wars for us, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. 3J, what do you got? Feel new ways to call out to you.
I know.
I love that.
Yeah, I know.
3J. I love the.
That's his street name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's what they call me in Toontown, actually. I think it's possible, and we'll have to fact check this maybe with Landon coming up. But I think I might have actually seen this movie with Landon in the theater when it came out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he would have been like a baby at the time. He probably doesn't remember it. But I do think, because we used to go to the movies sometimes, I would actually go stay over at his house, and his mom, like that was a whole big event. We would go to the movies the next day, and I think it's possible that we did. But I do remember seeing it in the theater, and I've watched it hundreds of times since. So it almost, the experience blends together. It's hard to remember what my reaction was at the time, but I do remember thinking that, like, I can remember, and I told this to Sam because we watched it again last night, in the initial sequence where it's just the animation, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is like the best animation I've ever seen. It's so good. And so having the experience last night, watching it and thinking, this does not look very good at all anymore. Just the anime, like you can just tell it hasn't aged great. But then once it gets into the live action with, blended with the animation, I think it actually works really well. But yeah, so it's been one of those movies that for me, it had a pretty big impact. I remember feeling very afraid of Christopher Lloyd's character because he's pretty evil and scary. And still to this day that holds up. So yeah, it's always one that I've been a huge fan of, and I was happy to revisit it again last night.
Now, Jen, you would have been 6 when if we went.
Same as 3J.
He was 3J. Yeah. Right around the same time there. I think we saw it together, I want to say, on like the opening day, probably, because I know I was clamoring to see it because I'm being the old man that I am,
Right.
I was 14, or I was gonna turn 14. I was 13 I was 13 going on 14. And to me, there was a lot, what I remember, and Jen, let's see if you remember as a 6-year-old, a lot of Disney Channel excerpts and behind the scenes of like how they were shooting certain scenes. I felt like whatever they were sprinkling on the Disney Channel along the way was part of the build to go see it in the theater. I don't know what you might be able to draw from that.
Yeah, I mean, I somewhat remember that. I feel like Roger Rabbit was just such a huge movie in the house. Like it just like stuck with us, and we made references to it. We had the Roger. I think you had put it on Instagram a while back that you found it in storage. The Roger Rabbit little figure. I mean, we were kind of all in on the movie, and I was watching it earlier tonight to try to refresh a little bit, and I'm like, I was 6. I'm not sure what I was connecting with at that point, but I think over the years, and probably if you were really into it, then it kind of just became this thing. And I think it was then present in #AlwaysMGM. So it became, it kind of went that way for us. But I don't recall seeing it in the movies. I was probably there, but I don't recall it.
Yeah. James Casey, you're saying, I remember being young and confused by Jessica Rabbit. Oh, we'll get into that. Right. I was amazed by the cartoon real life mixture between the movie and Space Jam 2, but haven't watched it probably since as an early teen. Yeah. I mean, and I think that, right. So I was 13, and I think I could have broke one way or the other when it came to Disney, and I was playing baseball. That was it. Basically my adolescence is baseball and Disney. Those are my two things, and they stayed balanced. And I think why they stayed balanced is because of how advanced Who Framed Roger Rabbit was at that point in time in my life. And even as I refreshed it, also just things this time around that I was like, wow, the counterbalance between Betty Boop in the Ink and Paint Club, and then the introduction of Jessica Rabbit, like that, like it's so purposeful and placed perfectly. I was like, these things went over my head, but it's in some ways they're layered as well as important, and so there's a lot of that. And I think the reason why I talked to Justin a little bit about this earlier, the reason why we love Back to the Future the same way, and granted that's Zemeckis also, it has this kind of underlying build of nostalgia, which us Dillos love, but it also helped paint the time period, just as Back to the Future painted the 50s in a way that we maybe weren't aware of. So you were getting this cartoon element and the live action element and this whole time period that we weren't too very familiar with. And obviously when that expanded into, Hollywood 1947 in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, it's 1947 on Hollywood Boulevard at #AlwaysMGM. So that, then that's always been the case. So that was always the connection for me. And we'll talk about the theme park inclusion too. But just how it leapt forward and, in some way bridged childhood to adolescence / adulthood, with some of the adult humor. Really struck a chord for a long time.
Yeah. And I was going to say, Skipper Bob mentioning the coming together of Warner Brothers and Disney. Watching that tonight again was like, did I realize this? I don't even know if I realized it. How did they do this? How did they make this happen? And of course, then I start like Googling and IMDb, and I'm on Wikipedia, and I'm like, I'm getting all my facts. I don't even need to watch it. But it's so nuts, and it's still crazy. Like, I feel like today they would never do something like that, and they made it happen then, and it worked perfectly.
The other thing I mentioned to Justin was the, in some ways, the Spielberg produced but not directed. There's kind of like a trinity there of like, I don't want to say it's a trilogy, it's a trinity of Back to the Future, The Goonies, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit in my mind, where they have the same feeling, the same pacing, the same, fully rounded world in them. That, I just want to throw it to everyone first. I think I'll know the answers, but is there a favorite you have amongst the three between Goonies, Back to the Future, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
You've blown Skipper Bob's mind.
All of those are great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely Roger Rabbit. It's Roger Rabbit, Back to the Future, Goonies, but they're all pretty close. Yeah. I don't know what you guys think.
I love your family connection, by the way, Nate. I love that you have that big of a connection to the movie. That's awesome.
Yeah, I can. I said that don't rhyme. Well, and my brother will respond with
yeah.
We'll begin our conversation. So
yeah. All right, 3J and Skipper Bob. What do you think?
For me, I would go Back to the Future just because I think, aside from Star Wars, I don't think there's a movie I've watched more than Back to the Future in my life. Mm-hmm. So it certainly shaped me in a lot of ways. And so for me, it'd be Back to the Future, Roger Rabbit, and then the Goonies. I've only, to be honest, I think I've only seen the Goonies maybe 3 times at most.
Oh.
Yeah. It's been a very long time.
Nate's like, it's unacceptable.
It's a no thing.
I know.
I didn't realize how universal Goonies was until my son saw it. And he saw it maybe 3 years ago, so he was 8, and he was fascinated. It was like his Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Was, oh my gosh, these kids were on an adventure, and they're doing all these cool things. I was like, yeah, yes. And it was amazing to me that it had this connection with him, too. And we watch it all the time.
Yeah.
Back to the Future too, but the Goonies hit him in a certain way.
Yeah,
yeah, all those you can watch them with anybody, any age, and find something to love in it.
Yeah.
All right,
I think for me, that if you were to ask me this question 3 days in a row, I'd give you a different response every time because I love the Goonies, I love Back to the Future, and we just watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit earlier today. With my own 10 and 8-year-old in, and there's some parts I'm like, you know what? Let it go. Let's see what happens. Right now, I would say Roger Rabbit, Back to the Future, Goonies, but that would probably change tomorrow.
Yeah, I got you. I feel like Back to the Future is, to me, the hardest movie of the 3 to turn off when it comes on. Like, I'm like, well, now this is it. I'm here for the duration. It's on VH1 with all the commercials. I don't care.
We let that fire. Let's watch it burn.
So yeah, but Who Framed Roger Rabbit, is so important to me. I haven't watched it nearly as much as Back to the Future though. So it does the same thing Skipper Bob's talking about. It'll switch around and do and do everything there.
Yeah. And I don't like to make a decision, so
right.
I can't really do
I
that.
think that's probably a tougher choice for you, Jen. I feel like
it'd be out of order for her.
Yeah, exactly. First of all, it's not me, right, Nate? I mean, it's not me to make a decision, but I do, as I sit here and look at a Back to the Future poster, and live with a person who is Justin's future bestie who loves Back to the Future. But I do feel like I don't know. When you said it, Back to the Future was first, and I don't know if it was because I just watched it more. Maybe I don't know what it was, but I mean, thinking of the string of movies, they all tie into my life somehow. So I feel like you can't go wrong. And like you said, they transcend time, and you can watch them with anybody. And you can also watch them with kids and go, maybe this wasn't that appropriate, but that's fine. Yeah. Maybe it'll teach you something else. But yeah, so obviously I'm not going to make a solid decision, but I'm just going to talk out what I'm thinking. So,
Daddy, what's patty cake?
We just watched it right before the show. We watched it. My son said, "Dad, what is patty cake?" And I was like, "Whoa. It's they like each other."
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, who knows? But
a cartoon and an old man love each other very much.
Home or a dressing room, as with Marvin Acme, But I wanted to ask Frank a question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know you're an animation fan. Everyone probably on here is as well. And I was very, very excited for Howard the Duck, which 2 years before Roger Rabbit. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. It's going to be Mary Poppins, but sci-fi-ish and cool. And I'm just going to love it. It's got Thompson. Back to the Future. Everything's just going to come together and explode into a major event for me.
And George Lucas, how can you go wrong?
Right, exactly. I mean, come on.
Who knew?
And then it did poorly. And I was so looking forward to having an animation live action do well. And then it didn't. And then Roger Rabbit came out a couple years later, and I was very, very hopeful, and but didn't want to be burned again. And it turned out that it was fantastic. Did anybody else have that same kind of feeling, or did you have those thoughts at the time? Because I know, Jake Cubed was looking forward to this animation thing, which is great at the time, but now we look back at it and it's a big deal. But it was mind blowing at the time to me. And Roger Rabbit, I don't know. Does anyone else have that? Because Howard the Duck was with the tech, and then I was just immersed completely with Roger Rabbit. I believed that Eddie Valiant was washing his dishes with Roger.
Right.
Yeah. It's just so believable.
Howard the Duck sat really weird with me. I don't know, like I don't know what kind of tone that they were shooting for with that movie, but like I don't know who the target audience was for that movie. I don't know if they knew who the target audience was for that movie. It was bizarre, because that's another one that you can watch now and you're like, they were showing this to kids? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. No, totally. And I'll have to, check the dates on it, but I know I didn't see Howard the Duck in the theaters because I think I must have been aware enough to be like, I don't think this is. And at the time, like, I would have watched anything with Leah Thompson, Space Camp, Back to the Future. I just line it all up and put them in a rotation. It would have been fun. So I remember watching Howard the Duck on video for the first time and being like, what's happening? I don't. And that's how I felt. So yeah, and with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, as you mentioned, the sync scene, like that's one of the little things that I think popped up on the Disney Channel from time to time was how they made that scene. There's that making of on YouTube right now that's like a half-hour long. I mean, it's from 30 years ago, and as soon as it started showing that sync scene, like everything just flooded back of like how many times I watched them put that scene together on that little Disney Channel vignette. It was crazy. In terms of putting the movie together, one of us here in this chat room, whatever virtual space we're in right now, has recently familiarized himself with who censored Roger Rabbit, and that is Nate. So he's here to give us a book report.
Oh.
Yes. And, phone's going off in the back.
If you could stand as you read it, that would be great, Nate.
Sure, I read Who Censored Roger Rabbit. So
I didn't do my homework.
Well, I haven't seen the prop show yet, so someone else is gonna have to cover me on this. But Who Censored Roger Rabbit subtitle should be, really, I have really good friends who are Toons, because there's a very racist subtext to the book, and I'm kind of sensitive to these things, and a lot of people won't be bothered by it necessarily, but Eddie Valiant is a man of his time in this book, and he is a misogynist, he's bigoted, and he's a jerk, and there's almost nothing likable about him. However, he does grow to like Roger through the tale. And that's why I say it had its subtitle of that, because he's like, oh, Roger turned out to be an okay tune. I guess that's all right. But there are so many negative things in the book about how tunes are different and are beneath humans and how they're ruining human society that it's just blatant in your face throughout the whole thing. And Roger Rabbit is not a zany character in the book. They keep saying, oh, stop being so loony, Roger. He does nothing. He doesn't bounce off the wall. There's no merry-go-round broke down. There's no 2 bits. There's just him standing there feeling sad because things aren't going great in his life. And there's no genuineness.
That's depressing.
It's almost a different story.
Yeah, it's a completely different story. But there are things to like about it. I did like the world building and the fact that some tunes could become human or almost human and interact as humans with the rest of society was interesting. And there were some other really interesting plot points. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but Jessica Rabbit is not the Jessica Rabbit we come to love in the show.
Right.
And Roger is actually a very interesting character. There is a twist in his character in the last chapter. So if you do make it through, and I suggest you do, it's actually an okay tale. The Wolf is very enamored with the time, and his private detective is great. It's like watching a film noir with a private dick who likes being a private dick, and he is always talking about the females in his orbit, and that got a little off-putting a couple times, but I don't know. There's enough recognizable that it was a fun tale, but I'm not sure I'd recommend it to everybody. But if you like Roger Rabbit, you got to read it, and just go in knowing that it's going to be a different story for you.
Right. I don't remember the twist at the end. I remember I read it. My parents, Mama and Papa Dillo, as they're known in the trade, would go grocery shopping.
Guys. They're my parents too.
Would go to the grocery store every Sunday. They would go to do their grocery shopping, and I inevitably would end up like in the book/magazine aisle. And I know that I spent several Sundays like going through rather than just buying the book. Why would I do that? Or asking my parents to buy me the book to read Who Censored. Maybe I didn't get to the last chapter. Now that you say that, I'm like, well, maybe I didn't make it all the way through the book because I remember everything you're talking about, and then you said it's twisted. And I was like, oh,
literally the last maybe 4 sentences. So
maybe not. Maybe it was gone before I finished the book. Someone had finally bought it. I don't know. That's so funny.
Well, I was given an offer today because I bought the ebook for 99 cents to read, or the audiobook to listen to for the show. And my wife was shocked that I didn't physically purchase something with Roger Rabbit attached to it and to add to the collection. And she said, oh, I will let you purchase that if you get rid of all of your baseball cards.
Oh, get out of here.
Frank,
get out of here.
Are you still into cards?
Oh, yeah. I got
You might have a shipment coming.
Send them all on. As I'm asked to constantly get rid of mine. That's the one thing I can't let go of. I've actually separate that. I have one set of everything. I took, went through the doubles and triples of cards. So everything I have in the boxes is just extra, quote unquote. I can't get rid of them. Right. I can't do it. I can't get they're extras. No,
I can't get rid of anything.
Oh my God.
And it's my one sin. So
yeah, no, I hear you. So if you break down the movie 3 ways, right? It's part period film noir, part feature length animation, and part a special effects movie because of all of these new special effects that went into came into play. if you're going to order those, Skipper Bob, do you see it as a special effects movie, or do you see it as an animated movie, or how would you classify it?
I see it more as a noir movie because noir puked all over this film. It's the cinematography, the score, the nuances. Just watching it felt like you're watching like era pieces from, like you said, the 1940s. So that's how I see it more as. But then obviously the animation and the effects just blow up in your face, and it's like, oh, okay, this is definitely going on now. But I was actually watching it earlier today, and I was thinking this is probably more noir than anything else.
Yeah, especially like I forgot how much I loved the soundtrack, and just how much music stands out. And I was like baffled that I've never owned the soundtrack until today. Don't tell anyone that I bought it.
Did you have to get rid of your baseball cards?
Well, I might have to if I mention it. But but I bought it, and I was like, God, it's so. I mean, and it's a Silvestri score, so it's like, it's classic to the Zemeckis film time period, and but it also really defined the time period and the noir elements, and the tune element. It's really, I feel like maybe it's like I don't know, maybe I'm making it bigger than it is, but is it an underrated film score in the bigger scheme of things?
Definitely.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing I didn't know until recently was, and I don't know why I didn't know it, and it might have been on Pop Culture but I just saw it somewhere else too, was that, when they designed Roger, obviously deviating completely from the novel of, the combo of Mickey and Bugs and a little bit of Goofy, and then the red, white, and blue Americana element to it. They're like, oh, everyone will love Roger because he's red, white, and blue, which I thought was super fascinating. But I guess, I always saw him as a combination, but never said it out loud or articulated it, I guess. But between the goofy pants and being a rabbit and the Disney quotient, I don't know. How do you see Roger as a character? And I mean, obviously, we can get into why he never became the face of #AlwaysMGM in a little bit. But
I'd like to hear your take on that. Yeah. But the one scene where Roger talks about Goofy, they're in the skybox area watching a Goofy cartoon in a movie theater, and he says, "Oh, Goofy's the king. Look at him. He's so great. He always gets the laughs." And I think that was a great insight into Roger's character, because he wanted to make everybody laugh, and he saw Goofy as being the epitome of that. Someone who would just go all in for the physical gag, but there was a lot more to Roger than that. And although that's what he saw as the pinnacle of what he could be, I think the movie showed more.
I'm glad you mentioned that scene, because I always felt that scene validated Goofy for me. I always was, I like, Goofy is Goofy, but, and I, without the informational world during my childhood, I felt like, am I the only one that loves Goofy as much as no one else is talking about Goofy? Why do I love Goofy so much? And that scene, I was like, thank you, Roger Rabbit.
Thank you very much.
That Goofy is this iconic. Thank you very much.
Finally, someone gets it.
Let's talk about, because there's so many iconic scenes here in the movie. What are some of your favorite scenes? We can go around the horn, starting with Triple J.
Ooh, I wish you hadn't done that. Yeah,
come on, Triple J. We can
really
all make decisions really easy around here. Come on.
While he's thinking of it, I got one.
All right, go ahead, Skipper.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Daffy and Donald piano scene.
Yeah.
That is just iconic. I mean, everyone remembers Bugs and Mickey in the skydiving, but Donald and Daffy just trying to one up each other. That's just golden. Everything about it.
And that scene is really, and I wish I could remember whether they teased that in commercials or the vignettes on the Disney Channel and things like that. But I just remember all of a sudden, like I can feel my body when that scene comes up still to this day. Like I just go, I can't believe this is happening. And again, the perfect placement of some of the scenes with the two of them early on and Bugs and Mickey later. It's, they're both moments that you're like, just what is happening in this movie? Yeah. It's wild. Yeah. Nate, what do you got?
My favorite technical scene is with the head weasel. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he's interrogating Eddie Valiant, and he's again at the sink washing Roger, and he tries to intimidate Eddie by saying, "Yeah, you better be good, or we're gonna hang you and your laundry out to dry." This motion, and the water spurts up. Mm-hmm. So it's a combination of the animation, a physical special effect, and the live actor, and they all work so perfect together. That might be my favorite actual like special effect moment. Yeah. And then I love, there are a bunch, but I love Eddie Valiant's impromptu merry-go-round.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Down at the end there, where he shows that he does have a sense of humor. He's witty. He can get this. And he is not just a poor old sad sap who used to be Eddie Valiant. He has a lot there. And Roger's taught him something, and he's going to save everybody by kicking a weasel
in the walls.
Does. And of course, I like I said ice.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's going first? Triple J or Jen?
All right.
4J. No, I don't have an answer. 3J.
Come on.
Okay, I've had plenty of time to consider it.
Okay.
So I would say I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna say 2. I like when Eddie first goes to the Acme warehouse and they're demonstrating all of the Acme products. That I don't know. That's just, again, it's like a classic combo of the animation and the real world kind of running in, smack headlong into each other, and that's fun. But I think probably my favorite scene would be in the terminal bar, Dolores's bar, where Roger's entertaining the patrons and starts smashing the plates on his head, and the record starts skipping. So he's just, no pain, smash, no pain, smash. That one always stands out to me. Like when I think of Roger Rabbit, I think about that scene frequently. So,
yeah.
Jen, are you really not gonna have an answer? Come on.
I'm gonna just build. I'm just gonna talk out what I'm thinking, like I do. But I'm going to build on everyone else's, basically, from what you said earlier with that scene when he's in the water. And that does stick out, that they must have kind of put that in your face all over TV when they were promoting it. That to me is like if you think about the movie, you see that in your head. But going back to the piano scene, that's when earlier tonight I was like, how are they doing this? I don't understand. Like that's the one that got me down my rabbit hole of research of all of it. So that one stuck out tonight, but I don't know. But I also feel like the warehouse is very #alwaysMGM to me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if the portion after which we can talk about, the backstage studio tour, that was kind of a little reminiscent of, we lost him. We lost the host.
Somebody dropped a safe on his head.
Right? I think that's what happened. I'm here, guys. I got this. Don't worry. He's coming back, I think. You're back. All right. Hey, welcome.
Jen, I hated your answer. I had to
clearly. You're like, you know what? Why is she even here?
Touch your mic.
Yeah. I was saying that the warehouse is very #alwaysMGM to me, because I feel like after the backstage studio tour, that area where we were talking about some old pictures we have back there of Papa Dillo and Jessica Rabbit. But that area to me, we were always hanging out in for a while after the backstage studio tour and stuff like that. So that also, so I don't know. So to sum up everyone's answer, thanks guys. Thanks for letting me participate. Okay.
The loony bin back there in the #alwaysMGM, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and as I was replaying the movie myself, I was just like writing. I started writing every scene down, because even when Eddie leaves his meeting with Maroon at the beginning and just walking through the movie studio and just seeing like the first introduction of how the two worlds are connecting, and then like there was a little gag of like all the cows moving, but behind it said cattle call, which is what you call some mass audition that no one's ever going to get the job for. And I was like, wow, I never saw cattle call until today in 30 years. What the heck? So it's just, the fact that the world was so detailed and what we love about like the parks today with the details and the nuances and all these things is so present in this movie. It's wild. And yeah, I love when he drives into Toontown. Like I just love when the curtain gets drawn and the sunshine comes up and the song plays and the whole thing, and the more even I'm talking about it now and how it bridged this gap for me. I mean, I guess that's I'm a cranky guy that wears a fedora now. Am I Eddie Valiant? What happened? Like it's it's an adult living in dealing with children related items, really, things in his life. And it's I really enjoy watching Eddie's journey. I enjoyed watching it back then, and I enjoy watching it now, and just how he, interacts as an actor. And Bob Hoskins interacting as an actor. I mean, he had to take mime classes to figure out the weight of things and how to move things and how to fling things and things like that. And determining like, all right, this is the eye line. We're going to put the puppet in, go in the eye line. Okay, take it away, film the scene. Like that stuff is nuts to me. And, I really like as Nate said, when he does a little one-man performance at the end there, it really stands out as like how his arc has gone, how his journey has gone. But I also, when I watched it, I mean, the scene where Christopher Lloyd dips the shoe in the dip, man, it still is like
intense.
Wow.
Really, they did it.
I know. Like now, that scene is so terrific. Like just in delivering what is scary and tense. And I'm 44, right? Forever 44. No, I'm 45. But like that's today I was just like, wow, I still get like kind of the chills from that because of how well done it is.
Yeah, he's just so evil. It's amazing.
Yeah.
What I said, I told my son that he was Doc Brown. He couldn't believe it. He said, that guy is great. I'm like, yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, it's funny you were saying earlier, Nate, that like Eddie Valiant's really not a likable guy in the book, because I was thinking last night while I was watching it that like I think if this character was played by a lot of other people aside from Bob Hoskins, I don't think he would be very likable in the movie.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like especially until the end, really.
We get to see his whole journey from, we don't see him being happy prior to that in Catalina. We just get the pictures, but he has lost his brother, which is everything to him, and the loss even made him lose his love in Dolores, and we just see him pretty much down and out. And that line where he says, or one of the other detectives or cops says, "You used to be Eddie Valiant," is so. It breaks my heart because we know now the depths that he has sunk to, and he is at the bottom, and there's nowhere to go but up. But could he? And this case brings it out of him. It's great, and Bob Hoskins so good, and I don't know very few actors could do what he did. You're right.
Yeah, it was just the right guy, and I think they considered like everyone in the world, like most of the world. Like I think one time, Justin, you and I, Triple J, talked about like everyone who was considered for Tim Allen's role in the Santa Claus. I think it was the same list of actors, basically. For Eddie Valiant.
Yeah, it's like the list was long and distinguished. Yeah,
and it was just like, nope, they got the right guy, and that's what's amazing. And even like Kathleen Turner went uncredited as the voice of Jessica because I did I did Romancing the Stone and Jewel of the Nile, so the Zemeckis connection, blah blah blah. But It's interesting to me too, of like Zemeckis's arc and all this, and how 5 years later you're getting Forrest Gump out of this. It's just the journey is wild to me. Is there any other scenes that we can touch on before I jump to?
Jeff was commenting here. Let me just go through. He was going to go with the scene that Triple J went with, but the Kill the Weasel scene with laughter got me laughing. But honestly, this was my first watch since theater release, and I spent half the movie thinking, what is this? Favorite line that I can remember off the top of my head was the no business like show business line. And James is saying he's learning so much from this movie from listening to everyone because he doesn't remember that much. So
nice. Yeah, cool.
Classic lines too. I don't. Could we hear what maybe everyone's favorite line is from the movie? Is there something that everyone kind of remembers?
Wait, no, you're frozen. You're frozen.
What? I don't remember that.
Him. I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm removing him until he figures it out. Figure it out.
No,
he's frozen.
That's a great question. The one that always sticks with me though is Jessica's line when she's like, "I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way." Yes. I love that line. It's iconic.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say that, by the way. I actually had a decision, and I was going to say it, and now Triple J took it.
Now pick another one.
Oh, no. I'm just going to go to Skipper Bob. What's your favorite line?
I would probably have to agree with, I think it was Jeff in the comments that said it, when RK Maroon was asking, what do you know about show business? And then his response was, there's no business like it. It's like, that's perfect.
All right, I heard Triple J's and Skipper Bob's. What was Nate's?
They didn't go yet.
Okay.
I went.
Yes. I was going to use the not bad, drawn that way line. So I will go with my second favorite line, which I always laugh at, is dabbling in watercolors, Eddie. When
right.
Eddie because it's perfect summation of this is for adults, but also kids can kind of enjoy it. Line for the whole movie, and I couldn't believe they went there.
Yeah.
Very funny.
It's great. Jen, what did you say?
I was agreeing with 3J.
Oh, with the I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way.
Yes.
I think it's like one of the AFI's top 100 movie lines of all time, or at least it was for a while, right? Yeah.
That's why I went with it. So, no, I'm just kidding. I can't.
Well, for years, I don't add the second part of it. I usually just do the first part as an exclamation, but I love Benny the Cab when he comes out at the end. He's like, Sister Mary Frances, what the hell happened here?
We haven't talked about Benny. He was great. And sort of he came in at the end of the movie, but he added a little bit of humor to it.
He was a scene stealer.
Yeah, it kind of got a little serious, and he brought back some good laughs.
Yeah,
I like Benny. Yeah. He's definitely a good addition. We need it.
And I mean, I think that leads into the bigger, because Charles Fleischer did the voice of Benny too, in addition to Roger. Am I right or am I wrong? That's correct, right? I think that's right. Did Charles Fleischer, who is the voice of Roger Rabbit, did his career get done dirty by Michael Eisner and Steven Spielberg? Because Roger Rabbit should have been well into the 90s as a dominating figure. I mean, I think there's a lot of reason. There's an Eisner Spielberg element that they didn't like each other, so they couldn't figure out all their stuff in terms of how to use Roger in the theme parks, et cetera, et cetera. There's the idea that Euro Disney depleted whatever funding was going to be made towards more of a IP product in Roger Rabbit, since he was partly Amblin owned, and that's why Sunset Boulevard and MGM became what it was instead of more Roger Rabbit centric. And I mean, I think overall, they had the cartoons before Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and I'm gonna forget this third one is A Far Off Place, because that's one of Jen and I's favorite movies that we never saw, but we love the trailer for A Far Off Place
because it has that was just the music in the trailer.
It has the music from The Mission as in the trailer.
That's gonna be isolated again. I'm sorry.
that is an inside joke to the extreme.
I really did until you were like, but we never saw it, and I was like, oh right, now I know what you're talking about.
But the music from The Mission is awesome. But I feel like Charles Fleischer, especially, he was on the money wagon here for decades. It should have been. So
yeah.
Is it sad? Is it a tragic tale of Roger Rabbit? I guess is my point too, as we talk about
the fact that he's not walking around at MGM right now. No one's walking around in their chair. That he isn't a character that we can go and talk to and meet and get pictures with is just a shame. It's horrible. And I did not see the Eddie Valiant window the last time I was there. It's changed.
Oh, you know what? Because when I was also reading up on it, and I was like, when was the last time I looked up at the Eddie window? And I was like, is the Eddie window there? I don't know.
It's gone. I'm very upset. And the blinds with the Roger silhouette.
Unless that's changed very recently. It was there the last time I was there.
Really? I took a photo of it.
Yeah, like right above Hollywood and Dine or whatever. It's up there.
Over by the Starbucks, right?
No, it's across the street.
It's
so like if you
where that one shop that became all Star Wars is.
Yeah. It's back there over on the left. Yeah, before you get to prime time. Yeah, it was up there.
Well,
because I pointed it out to the kids because they had never seen it before. It's still there.
I write a sternly worded letter to someone that it was there. But okay, great. That's why we have Big Huge.
I didn't even know you froze that time, so I was like, "Who's coming into the studio?"
To my own meeting over and over again.
That was a neat trick.
That was pretty cool.
Okay,
it was going to be 2 Franks.
I know. I was like, oh, you're frozen? Didn't even notice. Okay.
It's nice. It's nice. It's my meeting, damn it.
I'll be in it as many times as I want.
That's right.
Unless I'm remembering this incorrectly, I think there was supposed to be like a Roger Rabbit dark ride they were going to put at the studios that it was supposed to be like a runaway cab ride, like you're in Benny the Cab. And I don't remember the reasons that it got canceled, but that is an extreme disappointment to me because that sounds like a great time.
Yeah, and I feel like
Disneyland.
Yeah, have you? I haven't been. I mean, I haven't been to Disneyland, so I don't know, Jay, and I don't know, Bob, if you've been to Disneyland, but can you speak? Have you been on the Roger Rabbit ride? Anyone?
I was disappointed.
You were disappointed.
It was okay. I'm glad it was there, but it could have been a lot better. So,
right, the cartoon spin, right? Yeah.
Yes, it was okay. I enjoyed going through it, but there was no Roger Rabbit merchandise in the store when you exit.
What?
It seemed like there was a major missed opportunity, but it did feel like they were prepping the area for the Runaway Railway. So I don't know if I've only been there twice. So
right, interesting.
And it was okay. It was an okay ride.
Yeah.
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is significantly better.
Interesting. The and like I said, like I feel like I never hear more than like surface about everything. So like the Eisner Spielberg, I feel like I haven't heard that much about it. Say, oh, that was really why, and that Amblin and all the hands that were in Roger Rabbit's pie there, and that's why they couldn't decide, because definitely that first year and a half or whatever, Roger was everywhere. And I know when I started working at MGM that Roger was still a walk around character. I know a lot of people who it was a struggle for them sometimes, but that was also part of it. But Roger Rabbit was replaced by the genie in Spectro Magic. I remember that. It was Roger Rabbit doing the keyboard piano thing before the genie did it. So it was such a weird thing, and I've heard different things over this long period of time. I have old Orlando Sentinel articles sent by my grandmother about Roger coming to the theme parks and what was going to be included, and the Benny the Cab ride that Triple J is referring to there. And I think at one time I heard about a Baby Herman dark ride when you're in the stroller and you're going through the cartoon. I've heard the Benny the Cab ride and a trolley ride too. That was going to be like a flight simulator, kind of thing. So, but never. I feel like I don't. But what's more?
Well, And see, he's gonna get booted again. All right.
What's up with the Wi-Fi over in Queens?
Queens is not representing. Nate,
the garbage truck.
It's probably the you know what? It's garbage truck time in Queens. Nate, is the Roger Rabbit ride still there?
Yeah. Oh yes,
It is.
It's still there. It's still there, and it's good. I would go on it if I were back in Disneyland.
Yeah.
But I'm an Uber fan, and it's like, oh, this is okay. I get to spin Benny.
Right.
It wasn't like what I thought Roger should be. I mean, this is Roger Rabbit. He's,
right.
The face of. He should have been the face of MGM.
Because James in the chat was saying he doesn't remember seeing it there. Only the Mr. Toads and Alice in Wonderland rides. So that's why I wasn't
there. It's in Toontown. You have to go in another section of the park, and you go underneath the track. The one of those terrible cars that have all the bad.
It used to be the People Mover.
Oh yeah. Yes. Exactly it. That's right. But
I like to refer to that formerly as People Mover.
Yeah, I was there for the Galaxy Edge opening, and it was still operating at the time.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
It was fun, and you can go. Actually, if you're a Roger Rabbit fan and you go to Disneyland, you must go to Toontown because of that ride, and you can pick up phones that are stationed in the area of the ride, and hear police calling for additional backup because Benny is flying through the streets with Roger.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's pretty funny. And then Roger actually calls into the police to talk to him.
That's funny.
It's that extra Disney magic that, it's not just a telephone there. You pick it up and it's an interactive experience.
Yeah.
And I made my family stand there for but it was very good and funny. I would recommend doing that.
Nice.
Awesome.
Excellent.
All right. Well, as part of the Forever 44 Fedora Club, we are to have a drink of the month, and I pulled a Jen, and I couldn't decide between the drinks. So I'm going to ask Jen if she can pull up the links.
Oh. Yeah, I was like, are you going to ask me to decide?
So we have a Jessica Rabbit drink and a Roger Rabbit drink. One is from liquor.com. The other one is, I will not recall until I look it up here on my notes.
Yes, we're going to see me and there. Oh,
cocktail builder for the Roger Rabbit drink is where it comes from.
Right.
But
Jessica first here.
Jessica first. Looks just like her. All right, scroll down there.
There we go.
That's not that bad.
All right. So we got some tequila, some carrot juice. Some cilantro. Oh, some jalapeno pepper. All right. It's hot. I like it. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I figured your old man eyes wouldn't be able to read it.
I was like, what's happening in there?
And I can't see you guys, so I don't know what this looks like.
No, it's great. Thank you, Jen. Moderator.
Nate. Yeah. Nate, I knew you could see it. I was just worried about Frank.
Well, I'm actually older than Mr. Frank.
No. You know the rule. Frank is older than everyone.
Right.
It doesn't actually.
Frank's the oldest.
Yes. Always.
900-year-old.
I thought that only applied on Theme Park Thursday, guys, and all the other shows we appear on.
Nope.
This is universal.
Man. All right. So
this is just
kind of a margarita.
Yeah.
Not so much a Bloody Mary as it is a margarita. All
right. And then this was the Roger Rabbit. Oh, what is this ad? Gross. Okay.
Well,
okay. Yeah, that was disgusting.
Just we went from PG to
gross. Okay.
So this is an easy one: coconut rum, amaretto, pineapple juice. So Samantha Monterell is out.
Sam cannot have this.
Oh,
she could not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just the one that
that one's easier.
Similar to the one that Landon recommended on the Facebook group, right?
Did you steal it from Landon?
No, no, I recommended it. I am the writer for all of Landon's proclamations.
So he's president in name only?
Yeah, it's a
agree
yes,
with
it's a glory title.
All right, and do you want to do the food
Yeah.
as well?
I want to talk about the food. I mean, we can. I mean, I was good. Do we need to pick between one of these two drinks?
Oh, you're trying to pick. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to pick between these two. Skipper Bob.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you pick.
Congratulations, Skipper Bob.
We have met you for the first time here tonight virtually, and not just through Twitter or commenting on YouTube.
It happens. Actually, I made the third drink I saw on the Facebook.
Great.
Scotty Temple.
Yeah,
I just don't have any cherries. That's all. But the rest of it's in there, and it's actually really tasty. I like this a lot.
Oh, all right.
Let's pull that up, Jen. Thanks to Skipper Bob for plugging Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz today, which featured an interview with Scotty Kilwine from Jelly Rolls. Appreciate that.
Is it a delicious drink?
I thoroughly enjoy this. The coconut rum really blends very well with the lime soda. I use like a store brand stuff, and I'd like to try this again with the cherries just to see if it affects the flavor at all. But yeah, this is really good. Poured it over a lot of ice, and I think I over poured some of the rum. I use an overproof rum.
That's fine.
That
Details.
happens.
It happens. Is it in a Trader Sam's glass?
No, it's not. I got the zombie mug here though. The volume you see wouldn't match.
Yeah,
so
that wouldn't really work out.
Jen, I didn't have that link for you. Sorry, right?
What link?
Why you're struggling for the Scotty Temple?
Oh, the Scotty link. I wasn't even looking. I came back because I had to see the drink in person here.
I understand,
I can get it.
But no, I have it right here. Let me pull it up for you here.
I already have it.
All right, fine. Just because you're younger doesn't mean you have to be quicker.
I'm so much younger though. So okay. Here we go. Where is it?
While they're pulling us up, are you actually a former skipper from the ride?
I'm going to tell you, I'm a son of a sailor.
Okay.
All right.
I'll buy that. I'd like to go out on the jungle cruise with you. That'd be great.
Not to be confused with the son of a preacher man, I guess.
I don't want
that. All right, so we got a shot of coconut rum. This is what Skipper Bob is drinking here.
Yes.
Equal parts pineapple juice and lemon lime soda, a splash of grenadine, and garnished, of course, with the maraschino cherries. And you have to do that. So
yeah.
It doesn't say how much a shot could be, so I just went 2 ounces.
Okay.
You can never go wrong.
Yeah. Just a little extra, Just like, nah, it's a shot. Sure.
Yeah, it's like a hippo Mai Tai. 2 shots of rum.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm the Jessica Rabbit. So.
What are you saying?
It was lewd.
Something about Jessica Rabbit. Something inappropriate.
I said I'm torn. I'm torn between the Scotty Temple and the Jessica Rabbit.
I see. Mm-hmm. James likes Jessica
Rabbit does sound interesting.
What's that, Jay?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that it's got some things have pineapple juice. We can't have Sam.
Yeah, that's true.
Out. That's right. Sam can't
Roger
try
Rabbit's
it then.
out.
I mean,
she could have the Jessica Rabbit though.
But I mean, it's Dole Whip. What does she like the citrus swirl, Justin?
She's not really a fan of the citrus swirl either. She doesn't like either one of them. Well, I mean, she can't have the pineapple. I'm sure she would love it if she could have it. But she goes with other treats when we're there. The one thing I think all of us were pretty on board while they had the Red's Revenge in the Magic Kingdom. That was delicious. And I will tell you this: they don't officially have it on the menu anymore. But if you go there and you tell them that you want the Red's Revenge but swirled with chocolate, they will do it, and it's amazing.
Oh, all right.
If we ever get back to the parks.
I'm going to tangent for a second. The actress, I'm not going to remember her name, who plays Nebula, is rumored to play Red in the next Pirates movie.
Karen Gillan.
Yeah.
Really?
There we go.
Karen Gillan from Doctor Who, Amy Pond. Yeah. How could you forget her name?
I know. I didn't want to say it wrong. I don't know.
Are you guys all moving?
She's amazing. Oh my God.
I am way behind as a movie, so I can't talk about 8 episodes. So
We actually haven't seen any of the episodes with the newest Doctor, unfortunately, but we were pretty caught up through Peter Capaldi. But yeah, we're big Whovians here in the house. Actually, I have a doctor looking over my shoulder. You can't see him, but he's back here.
Nice. Then we have our meal of the month. We're all going to be required to cook a meatloaf this month, courtesy of our friends at the Disney Dishes blog, aka Tom and Michelle over at the Hyperion Adventures podcast. I've selected this since the 50s Primetime Cafe is as close to 1947 as you can get. And so if you go to disneydishesblog.com and pull up in the Walt Disney World section, a bunch of recipes based on favorites at Walt Disney World. The meatloaf, Cousin Megan's meatloaf from 50s Primetime Cafe is there. And I know, Justin, you can verify because you've used Disney Dishes blog to make your Ronto wraps. Correct?
We did.
Triple J?
We did. Yeah, that is correct. And yeah, Tom does a fantastic job recreating these copycat recipes from Disney. And so I'm sure that this is a delicious meatloaf.
Yeah, man. And I'm a big meatloaf guy, so
we'll zoom in on this. Maybe I'll put all the.
By the way, Sam hates meatloaf, so
you'll have to make this one, Justin.
I will. I can do it.
Yeah. Maybe I'll put all the links to the drinks and the link to this blog in the notes below this, so that when people watch it back for fun, they can get to it. Yeah, I'll do that.
Well, guys, we did it. We had our first meeting here of the Forever 44 Fedora Club. I think it went okay.
We did it.
Yeah. I think it was the right movie to talk about, and everyone might get into it. So thank you so much for being a part of it. I'm excited because next month, June the 18th, mark your calendars now. It's a Thursday. We're going to talk about Dick Tracy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very good.
The comic or the movie?
The movie. The Warren Beatty. The Warren Beatty 1990, right? 1990, not 91.
Do we need to take out our trading cards from Mama and Papa Dillo's attic that I'm sure are still up there?
Yeah, I think we'll have to search those out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They gotta be around. Oh, well, I'll have to search around here too.
Let me see if you might have them.
Let's see if I have them.
Who didn't have Dick Tracy trading cards, guys? Come on. No,
nope, we had them.
Nice. Nice.
So Jen actually went to school, and I'm going to say it out loud right here on YouTube. I don't care. No? You want me to say it? No?
Oh,
you no?
You can.
Yeah? You sure?
Yeah, I just went to like grammar school. We're friends on Facebook, though. It's cool.
Yeah, with the daughter of the makeup artist from Dick Tracy.
Correct. So, that's right. So, I mean, basically, I was on set, guys. So I'll have a lot of inside scoop. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So
I love how we gave Justin more of a wrestler name. That he's 3J. We called him Triple J pretty much the entire time. Yeah, did it. We all did it. So yeah.
I'll come up with my own Triple J strut for the next.
Yes.
The next meeting.
We're gonna have entrance music for you next month. So get ready for that. I'm just letting you know now.
That's because I can't read the font. It's too small.
Yeah. Exactly. All right.
So,
that would be awesome. We all need our own entrance music.
And now
coming up through the StreamYard until we get 1,000 subscribers and can be on YouTube ourselves. Skipper Bob, thanks so much for being here. The Cretins. Oh my God, I just blanked.
Guild.
Thank you. I was like, it's not Build. It's not Build. The Cretins Guild podcast. Check it out, and you're on. There you go.
Nice.
There you go.
What do you want to do? All the plugs, Skipper Bob?
Yeah, just keep it really simple. Find us on Twitter at Cretins Guild, and you'll find links to everything right there. Perfect. Nice and simple.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you. And Nate.
I have no plugs.
You have your Twitter.
I would like to plug.
Come on, plug something. Plug.
mommy.
Magical Mom.
The Magical Mommy Monday podcast, Nate.
Magical Mommy. Jen is on a great podcast about
Nate.
all sorts of stuff. And you can find it from following her.
Nate.
On, I don't have anything to plug. I'm starting a blog soon, and I'll be tweeting about it at Nathaniel Hardy. So at Nathaniel Hardy.
Yes.
But, I can't wait to check out the Cretins Guild. I'm sorry I'm not conversant yet. All of these podcasts are fantastic. You need to check out everybody and what they're doing.
Thanks, Nate.
Sorry.
Justin?
Triple
J, 3J?
J squared.
3J.
3J.
From parts unknown.
He's 3J for the
Yeah. I'm gonna release a country album coming out next month, and I can't even remember what the Triple J or Double J song was, but I remember it being terrible.
Spend my day working hard on the go.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So I'm on a podcast called the Monday Morning Monorail Podcast. We're at Morning Monorail on Twitter, but you can visit mondaymorningmonorailpodcast.com, and it has the links to everything. And we have a Facebook group if you want to come chat with us, Monday Morning Monorail Family. Because everybody's family when you're on the monorail. It's like the Olive Garden. Never-ending pasta.
Bad comparison.
Soup, salad, and a Monday morning fam.
Chicken fettuccine Alfredo.
Yeah.
Are you
Jen,
doing ours?
You can. You go. Me. You. Me.
You. Him. Me.
Jen and I are Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz every Thursday on your podcasting outlets. We're with 3J on Tuesday nights here on YouTube with the Parks and Monorails Most Magical Hour, and finding our groove there. I'm really enjoying it the last couple of weeks. So it's we're having a lot of fun over there on Tuesday nights. Oh, and the Podbean, yes. On the morning, go over on the Podbean, and you can join the chat on the Morning Monorail, Monday Morning Monorail Podbean, or come on over to.
I have an update.
Update.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and the update is you from this week forward, you're going to have to click on a link if you want to join the Podbean chat, because we had some infiltrators the last couple of weeks that have come in to the Podbean, and they're trying to mess things up. So there's going to be a link on Facebook, and there'll be a link on Twitter. If you want to join, it'll just be us friends, and we won't have these infiltrators anymore.
Nice.
Yeah, if you go back and watch the YouTube video, you'll see the little part where all of us are kind of like, what's happening? Yeah. Something's going on. Yeah. We don't know.
And then I was clueless. Yeah.
You can have the Podbean chat open on your screen as well as the YouTube chat, and you can be in both.
That's right. Yeah,
you can do it.
Jocelyn at Disney Gratitude 1.
Yes.
Tipped me off on that, and it's fantastic because you can do both. And I was able to leave the ruffians.
Yeah. People play some music. People do a lot of things over there. It's
that was exciting too. Yeah. But I'm hoping that, because I found this so I can make it unlisted, so that basically you have to click the link to join. It can't just be people who happen upon it if they're on Podbean. Yeah. So this way it'll just be the people who want to be there, and you can call in and talk to us, and we have a great time. But yes, we are. I agree. We're finding our groove on Tuesday nights, and we're having a good time. It's very fun.
It's been a lot of fun to totally. Yeah, really a lot of fun. But thank you guys so much. This is bringing the first ever meeting of the Forever 44 Fedora Club to a close. Thank you so much for everyone who joined out there in chat land.
Yes.
And make sure to check back next month, June 18th. We'll be talking about Dick Tracy. This was the Who Framed Roger Rabbit edition, which as we just talked through, like really how important this movie was to me. Like, it's really standing strong here. So thanks so much, everyone, for talking about it. Until next time, that's 3J, that's Nate, that's Skipper Bob, that's Jen, I'm Frank. Bye-bye.